Just briefly with this video. So in this, if you follow this 3-part, now this is the 4th video in a 3-part series where I was talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. I did want to come back with a little bit of sober commentary because I was making some heavy-handed compliments. Heavy-handed comments, insights, and also humor, and also I leveled some heavy names with that, and I don't mean to be flippant about neither the names that I mentioned. Even the people that I experienced in life, but also the solemn names that I mentioned. So maybe these kids that I'm giving these royal names to that I grew up with are now mentioned in the same video, if not the same breath, as some of the most solemn figures in allegory, if not spirituality, which are not necessarily different. And you could say our life itself is the allegory, and it doesn't have more meaning or less meaning than an allegory, or more reality or less reality than the allegory. So these figures, these eminent figures and deities in our life and in our childhood, who actually affect us in our development almost as significantly as a real great figure would, if we're being honest with perspective. I don't mean to be flippant about any of that, and then I wanted to add just a little bit of context. So again, one thing is that I was making that video and I was talking about white this and black that, and I want to point out that all people, I've made a post in another forum that all people suffer hatred as a function of appearance. I would say male, female, other, black, white, other, any combination of any of that. All people experience hatred and marginalization to different degrees at different points. And so it may be, and I've said in another video that it may be hatred and bigotry that is the only non-bigot, because hatred does not discriminate from anyone. I just want to say that we all experience pain, but sometimes you have to appreciate the context, the history of the context that you're in, and we in the United States, but then maybe a lot of the world also, because the world is affected by American culture. I don't think I'm going to cite any source on that, but it has been recognized that the American culture is very influential, and a big part of America. You can't isolate the culture from the history, and I've made different videos about about violence in the United States, and my father would be the first one to say that you cannot isolate violence from the context and the history which is yet present. History doesn't stop being history. And so that history is influencing us, informing us, and we are experiencing history as we're living history and as we're creating history to be further experienced. So in the United States, I was just pointing out that if we have existed within a caste system for a long time, and it can be a reason that we do still have a caste system on many levels. It has been more above and below ground at different points, but I would say, in my experience living in the North, and actually a point that had once been a terminal point for the Underground Railroad, according to the great Judge Joe Brown, is that I see some of these racial attitudes and tensions actually redoubling, and I would say they've maybe been worse than they've been at other times. I wasn't here to experience the 60s and 70s. I was here for part of the 80s and then the 90s and so forth. And I would say that right now it's about as thick as it has ever been. At least for someone like with my appearance, where that, and you have it in time of slavery, in different periods of racism, colonialism, feudalism, industrialism, now digitalism, is that there have always been winners and losers of all backgrounds. So this beast that we're up under, just because a person is of a certain appearance doesn't mean that they're getting the long or the short end of the stick. You have people of all backgrounds and appearances getting both the better and the shorter end of the stick. But I would say that for me, I just personally end up having the shorter end of the stick more so at the hands of people that, or at the maybe the mouth, the hands, the eye contact, the gesture, the decisions, the influence of people that look like me and don't look like me is quite thick. But I want to say that it is true that these terms, white and black, they have a lot of history, but some of them have actually been actual proper code names and legal designations of status within a caste system. And yet, like I said, we still have that caste system. An example of that is like the cahoots between different employers, and then also somewhat the medical establishment within the education, medicine, and employment. They overlap and they collaborate and they conspire to mitigate and marginalize different people and ascribe different opportunity and and deprived different opportunity. So, and the justice system also, and so it amounts to a form of caste system by and large. Now, I haven't got the absolute worst of it, but I damn sure haven't got the best of it, and maybe I'm better off for that, because I'm maybe more realer and more effective at the lower rung. Your lower rungs, closer to the grassroots, are always going to be your more influential support. What's more important, the higher end of the totem pole or the lower end of the totem pole? And what holds up the higher end of the totem pole? What would the eagle be like up there without the beaver holding that shit down? I don't mean to say that disrespectfully, because totem poles are solemn and beautiful and spiritual, but yet the lower rungs of a totem pole are very significant in fixing and fashioning the higher ends, and they're not possible without the lower ends. So actually, to maybe be more so humbled by life and experience, and yet be able to overcome different things, and yet support people coming behind and also people higher up. That's no less a great station. So I don't want to complain, but there's a history of marginalizing and castigating people that we're still undergoing, and it is reflected in what's called white and black, and how we appreciate different people with our limited understanding of those terms and how they have functioned. And so that it is true that sometimes people who would appear or be appreciated as being white subconsciously and consciously get a little bit of favor and privilege because of that. And then the opposite is also true. But again, there's no hard, fast rules, and there's no rule without an exception. So I'm not going to say that's what it is and always is, but it is something that I experienced a lot, and I wanted to support that out, that we all suffer, and none of us win unless all of us win. I think a gay rapper once said that. I listened to a gay rap song about maybe 10 years ago. I don't know the man's name, but he said something about if all of us aren't free, none of us are free. He said something that cold once, and I shout out to that man for that. That was a dope ass line, if not the dopest one I've ever heard in any rap song. So shout out to the gay rapper, the gay man, the gay person, the beautiful person. But I wanted to put that out there, is that we all suffer, but we all do yet experience the dynamics of appearing or not appearing black. And part of it is that when a person appears white, sometimes they get deference. The author Sharzad Ali said that a person will tell a white person anything they know and don't know as they think it is pleasing to the white person as an instinct, and that's largely true. Watch how comfortable, watch how much you open up around someone that you appreciate as being white, whether or not you are appreciated as being white. Watch how forthright and forthcoming you are around someone who you consider white. It's interesting like that, but the people who might actually give you I think that if you have in my experience, so I am a I am a so I am something of a, like, if you look at that video of me dancing, I dance like I'm both white and black. And because you can't actually dance outside of what your experience is and who you are. But I'm something of a white boy that can pass for a soul brother. I've been called not black by people who who are from a black background, and that's not disrespectful. They're actually just saying like how they perceive me. So I have been appreciated before as being actually a white boy that had thought he was black, or could pass for being black. But then I'm also something of a soul brother who can pass for being white at least I can get past it. I can get smooth past a phone screen if I have to, sounding like this or that, but actually thinking like this or that, and appreciating this or that. But I wanted to say that, like, sometimes I was thinking to myself, I was watching a video yesterday where they're asking a white brother, why are white men so mad when they have the world on a platter and giving him a hard time? But I was thinking to myself that I don't know that I know all people have their shortcomings, white, black, both. All people have their shortcomings and things that are just whack about them. All people have that. And then all people also do have strengths, and sometimes strengths are a part of a family, or you might, like me, I would fancy my brother and myself as being a little bit artistic. We have been a lot of our life. I was more so visually artistic when I was young, and then I moved into becoming musical. But he was more so of a dramatist and talented in like the acting arts. But then he leaned more into like writing and visual art. But he would be artistic, but human families are similar, where different human groups can have trends of strengths. Like, one is that I think maybe like people of a Caucasian background, it's been said that Caucasian people have a little bit of a lighter bone density in terms of statistically, and maybe some of your strongest swimmers. So you look at a lot of your outstanding swimmers, and they have a certain look to them. It might also be similar, like with skateboarders, where like some of my friends were some badass skateboarders, but I could never get that good at skateboarding like them. It might actually be something of a feature of the bone structure. And then you take just different like social and intellectual gifts. I've benefited greatly from the continent of India. And if you look at the continent of India, um, a lot of their their insights, whether that be medicine or like or astronomy or music, um, literature. Those are not poetry. Those are not different subjects, disciplines in itself. One could say that all disciplines are yet a feature of romance, and are unified in that setting. When you can unify things that don't seem anything alike, you have you have achieved insight right there. That was from a book about songwriting about Paul Zalo, where he interviewed different outstanding songwriters that really fashioned our experience of the 20th century and currently, such as like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, stuff like that, the Beach Boys. And one of them in there was saying that when you combine things that are disparate, that means different fundamentally, to form a unique connection, you have achieved insight right there, and you have gained understanding, and so I got a little bit lost my train of thought, but I just wanted to say that I was watching this video about this person giving a hard time to people who are Caucasian. And again, I said that all people experience suffering and bigotry no less than Caucasian men. And that would be an example right there of giving this man a hard time for being Caucasian, as though they're any different. But I noticed that in some of my experience of life is that some of the real friends I had, like, but what I was saying is that in India, um, with the different disciplines of India, they have a keen understanding for capacity for subtlety. I would say as a family, and broadly speaking, a lot of people of the continent of India, which each person is unique. Me and my brother are nothing alike, yet we are from one family, and we do share a similarity in our experiences and heritage as beings, as coming into being genetically in our ancestry, but also in this life we have similar experiences and influences and capacities. And so I think that maybe if you were to appreciate the continent of India, it's much of that about whether it's what's called philosophy and real philosophy, real love of wisdom and learning, or medicine, very subtle dynamics. The Great Order Osho is an example of that. If you listen to his discourses, the subtlety of things that are right in front of your face, right under your nose, but he can lay a finger on it and he can make you aware of something that had been under your nose, and you can become better from that. That's one strength that I appreciate of the family of India, generally speaking, but I don't mean to be arbitrary or violent about applying either ascribing a compliment or an insult to any people, because that can be equally egregious and limiting to people, because people can be anything they want to be, anything they are to be. But I noticed that a lot of Caucasian men, the friends that I've had who have been Caucasian, if you have a male friend who is Caucasian and he considers you his friend, he's easygoing and stuff like that. But when there had been a problem, if that problem was like a freestyle problem, like outside of formality, you didn't know that he had actually been a Boy Scout that whole time when he was little, and you didn't know that he had been up hunting with his family, and you didn't know that he was good in the dramatic arts, and you didn't know that he actually did his homework sometime, and he had some tricks for like memorizing words, and he can figure out how to do some stuff pretty cold. A white boy could. Or if it's above ground, you didn't know that he'd actually take some time off from work to go down to City Hall and actually say something to his ombudsman on your behalf of that fucked up shit they did over you. So my brother is a firebrand in himself. He more so passes for being Caucasian with his skin tone, and he has a best friend from childhood who's also Caucasian and is successful. They're both outstanding men. And my brother is a firebrand in the first place, and I wouldn't want a problem with him even being his own brother. But yeah, I would think twice about having a problem with him just because of the quality of his friend and his friendship. His friend would his friend's not a baseball player, but I think he would go to bat on any field on my brother's behalf if it came down to it without too much notice. He might even call off work to go play baseball somewhere on my brother's behalf, and that's how thick how close up in a bean pod a white person can get with you when they're your friend. And I had a friend growing up like that who was half Native American and half Caucasian. And I had, he checked when I was a nobody, a proper nobody, working as a pharmacy clerk where I live. And I didn't get a lot of, I actually liked that. I didn't didn't get a fanfare. So I'd go to work and I'd be a pharmacy clerk. And I'd be very nice to all the people that came in there, of all the different members of the community. And I'd do my best to show respect and show love to them. And then I'd go home and I'd watch the same film, Casino, I think, with Robert De Niro. I must have watched that film approaching 500 times. Just, I really like the swimming pool in there. There's one part where like this guy, he's like now there's different type of gangsters. You have like your dirty gangsters, and then you also have like your politicians and your businessmen that are like upstanding, but they're still somewhat gangster. And this one gangster, he owned a hotel, and there's like this scene of a swimming pool where he was too classy and too busy making money to have anything to do with the swimming pool, but he somehow looked cool just being around a swimming pool. I really like that vibe of like a classy, well-to-do person, dressed well, and in the vicinity of a swimming pool, yet not deigning to get wet in a swimming pool. I really like that look. And then I follow that up with I'd watch Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which is a really great love story. It's more so of a love story than it can be appreciated on the surface, about outstanding swordsman dying without issue, and dying while trying to seduce, outside of honor, the love of his life, who was the former um, fiance of his comrade who fell in arms with him. It's a deep movie about trying to pass on your heritage and your lineage as a man, but also as a teacher, because he failed to yet to seduce an understudy disciple that he wanted to pass on his best. So he wanted to pass on his love to his love interest, and he wanted to pass on his skill to a Ronin and a female disciple of much promise, who was yet troubled by a uncanny and freestyle, self-style Ronin of a master, the colder figure in that film. I think maybe one of the coldest figures in allegory. Shout out Jay Fox with that one. So I would be this very nobody, and then I would go over, I'd regurgitate those films as I would go home each night, because I wanted to get it right. I wanted to watch them all the way through just right. So I watched them constantly, and then no, but I had left a couple minutes on that, so I'm going to have to watch that again yesterday. So my life, the life of a clerk who enjoyed gangster and karate movies, or martial arts films, had been my life, and nobody was worried about me at that time except my friend from way in the past in childhood, who would check up on me. He was both Caucasian and Native American, but he more so appeared Caucasian. That would be his phenotype. Your genotype is your actual genetic heritage, and your phenotype is the expression of your genes and what that amounts to in your strengths and strong suits, and also your limitations, not the least of which your appearance. But he would check up on me like a real friend would, and then he's like, I'm gonna get up there to your city, man, and I'm probably gonna end up showing you the town when I get up there. And he would have been right about that. But I once had a windfall in my life, and I journeyed out there without planning, and just on inspiration. And I stopped by his mom's house, because that's the last place I had known where he was at. And he had been up on his feet. He had a beautiful fiance at that time that he ended up having a beautiful son with, the last I heard. And his fiance was an outstanding dancer, and he supported her in that dancing, and he became a dancer, just supporting his wife, who's an actual dancer. And he challenged me to a dance-off, and I still owe him to get back for that, because we gotta settle that shit, man. But he was, when I stopped by his mom's house, he had moved out of his mom's house. He was still in his mom's life, but he had moved out of his mom's house, and I saw his old bedroom from childhood, and it was still there for him, because a mother's gonna leave her sons. I said in another video that in the East, it said that a mother tends to know her son very well, especially if he's an only son, and he had been her only son. Sometimes only children are really cold for some reason. I don't know why, but a lot of only child are very gifted in many ways. I had another friend who's another badass that I owe a video to in terms of fitness, that had been an only child. But when I dropped in his bedroom, there was nothing in there but a picture of me and him from that time when I was fancying myself a basketball player when we were little kids, because he was my real competition that got me to be cold, playing one-on-one a lot. And there was nothing in his room but a picture of me and him walking away from a bus, and like looking at some books, and not even aware that picture is being taken of us, but yet together. That I think my mom had took that picture, and that was the only thing in his bedroom. Not having heard from me for about 4 or 5 years, having moved out of his mom's house but still being in his mom's life, that was the only thing in his room to show you what kind of friend he was or how he felt about me. And to say that sometimes when you have